What's up, everybody? So, still very much uh, getting things situated with the move and the hobby area and whatnot now. But while I haven't got any painting done or done any work on Apollo, I have reacquired, you could say, my range of Vallejo's liquid metal paint, their alcohol-based paint. And I don't remember if I did a video on all 8 of the paints or not. Either way, I'm doing one now. I was going to give you my take on them, my thoughts on them, to showcase them to you and some ideas. And really just to show what is in this range, because there's 5 golds and then 3 other colors. So that's a lot of different golds, which we'll get to towards the end of this ramble. Remember, this is an alcohol-based paint, so no water. Don't use any water with these paints. 91% isopropyl alcohol or higher is what you want to use in place of water. Just keep that in mind. So with that said, Vallejo offers 8 different paints in the range, and we're going to start with the silvery ones. One is indeed a silver. Definitely blued. Now I gotta shake it up more, but it's definitely got a bit of a blue hue to it, almost like a blued steel. Could work really well for gray knight armor. The other one that looks silvery is a white gold. So this is white gold and this is silver. The silver's got more of a blue tinge to it, where the white gold has got more, well, of a white tinge to the metallic. Both look great. Both would be great for gray knights, depending on what you're doing, or any force really as a basis. You'd be going for a silvery base, a nice pure silver. Just that you have 2 here, and they are pretty similar, although one has an innate blue tinge to it, while the other one does not. The other one's much more neutral, much more of a just pure silver effect, while one is blued. And it's interesting that the silver, as is listed, is the one that's blued. So yeah, that's 2 very similar yet different paints, clearly. Nice thing about these paints, before moving on, their coverage is fantastic. So you can do 2 coats and you've got everything covered you need. It's nice and bold, it doesn't gum up any detail because it's thin paint innately. And you don't even have to put it over a base coat. You can if you just want to base coat the model, because that's what you do, undercoat it with like a gray, a black, or a white. It doesn't matter. Or leaving it raw, you can put these alcohol-based paints over it and it'll cover nicely and you won't really tell. With some acrylic metallics and other acrylic paints, obviously, if you put a color over a darker base coat, it tends to darken it a bit. Same thing with a lighter base coat, tends to lighten it a little bit. Nothing drastic, but just enough to have it be different from somebody who's used a different base coat. These metallics don't do that at all, these Vallejo liquid metal stuff. So there you go. What you see in the pot is how it would look on a model or on paper. So that's why I just left it in the pot. So again, silver, white gold. Right here, white gold, silver. Silver's got more blue tinge to it. So the odd man out of this whole thing is copper. This is the copper paint. I really like it because it is straight up, looks like you have copper wire in there, or at least melted down copper in there. It is copper. It won't be confused for bronze. It won't be confused for brass or anything like that. It is copper. Now, with that said, the camera is kind of washing out the colors a little bit, as it tends to do. That's just what happens with cameras. But you can tell it is different from all the rest. It's very much a coppery color, and it's fantastic. All of these Vallejo liquid metal paints are smooth. You don't really get a real grainy effect with them the way you might in some acrylics for metallics. It's just a very smooth, and that's due to the alcohol-based paint. The pigmentation is very fine and very heavy in there, so you really have to shade these paints up good before you use them. So with that said, 5 of their 8 paints are gold style. I mean, technically 6 with the white gold, but that's more of a silver look. For the actual gold look, you got 5 different paints. So this one right here, I know just from putting them down and also just from having these for a bit, this is your standard gold. This is what they do for standard gold. It is not, it's very neutral in the gold spectrum, if you will, and it's going to work for pretty much any gold effect you're trying to do. Trim ornateness on weapons, main armor color, Tisca Ruby effect, whatever you want to do, this is going to be really good for it. The standard gold. With that said, what we have here is what they refer to as old gold. When you look at it side by side, it is slightly different in its coloration at the end of the day. If you like this, this can be your gold for doing ornateness, trim, main armor color, what have you. It could be a layer on top of the normal gold to kind of make it feel like this gold's been here a little bit. So just some food for thought. Right here we have green gold. Now green gold is an interesting concept because it is a very different hue from gold and old gold and from the rest. You may like this as your main armor color or your main gold color. I'm not saying it's for doing weathered gold. I'm not saying it's for doing old gold. We have an old gold. Number one. Number two, it's just more, it's called a green gold, but I almost want to say it's a little bit more yellow. I guess having a green tinge to the gold brings out the yellow more, which makes no sense, having said that, but it's definitely tinged a bit more, a bit darker, if you will, than the standard gold or old gold. Compare that now to this gold. This is rich gold. Now, rich gold is different from green gold and different from the other two as well. They just happen to be in smaller paint pots, by the way. You can get the paint pots. These are pretty much the two different sizes you can get. I'm pretty sure all the paints come in all these sizes, so it doesn't matter. But here we have rich gold on the left, green gold on the right. There is a bit of a difference. It's more subtle. I would say if you're going for a truly rich, almost vibrant, you can say, gold, you would probably use one of these as a base and then the other one over it if you wanted to use the two different golds together. But they are different from gold and old gold, and different from each other, although it's definitely more subtle between the two. And the subtlety comes in the hue of the gold. This is bolder than standard gold, but I would say it's more yellow tinged than green. Like, this definitely, calling it green tinge, looking at it in person, it just feels like there is a bit of a green tinge to it, or this one feels more like, if there is a tinge of anything, it's slightly yellowed, but very subtly, to be just different from normal gold. This here is red gold, the one I'm really excited to do some experimentation with. Red gold is going to be a close approximation to copper. If you feel that copper is just too bold in the copper for you, and you want something that could be quickly, mistaken, honestly, for a copper, or really kind of washed out white copper, if you will, which doesn't really exist, but you get my point. Some people would like this over normal copper. But this is definitely golden in its hue, but it is a red gold, almost like a rose gold. If you ever seen rose gold rings or whatever, it's kind of like that, only not as pink tinged. But very close. And this is the most different of the bunch of the 5 golds here. So yeah, that's all the paints, and you can see upside down. You can see the tinge. This silver is because I haven't mixed it well enough. And you can hear just how thin it is, but it's shaking. But you can see how it's definitely blue tinged. So that's the silver, that's your white gold, that's your copper. And then you have your 5 different hues of gold here. I had some ideas for this red gold. I want to try it on Custodes armor, to be honest with you, for an effect I want to go for. But any of these 5 golds here can work really well for representing golden Auramite armor without being just the traditional gold, which looks great. But if you want your gold to stand out a little bit, if you want your Auramite armor or your golden griffins or your celestial lions gold to just be a little bit different, you have these 4 options really to go with. The red gold is different enough where it really wouldn't flow well unless you're going for that effect on your Auramite armor or what have you. But yeah, What are your thoughts? Do you own this range? Any part of this range do you own? Are you considering it? Just remember, use isopropyl alcohol when using these paints, 91% or higher. And do you feel like maybe old gold or green gold and rich gold, could one of them could have been dropped without any real loss? You can kind of see a difference there, but some people do think that maybe this paint isn't needed or this paint isn't needed. I have seen some stuff. People look at the range and go, is it really necessary? It's like with the white gold and the silver. Now, with that being said, this silver can be a very nice base silver to go with for gray nights. Then you highlight it up certain areas with the white gold, and then you use a very watered down or very lamia medium downed blue glaze on certain recessed areas or bottom parts of it to get a real nice Aegis armor effect. Anyways, tangent, but what are your thoughts? Share them in the comments. Thanks very much for sticking through me talking entirely too long about some paint here. Again, this is Vallejo's liquid metal range alcohol-based paint. Utilize isopropyl alcohol of 91% or higher for them. I really like the copper and their golds, particularly the red gold, I find very interesting for potential usage. But all of them are really nice. They really are. They're all smooth. They all cover great. So if you're looking for a decent metallic in any of these hues, you won't be disappointed. Just make sure you don't use water with them. Anyways, that's it. Thanks very much for sticking through it. And until next time, take it easy.